Today's episode is brought to you by Patreon. If you're interested in supporting the show, go to patreon.com/JoshuaVelas and become a $2 backer today and get early access to the new episodes. I'll be leaving a link in the description down below, but for now, on to today's episode. You're listening to the Augmented Experience podcast. I'm your host, as usual, Joshua Velas. I'm a student, musician, and a gamer at heart. Join me as I sit down every week to talk about all the latest news in the technology, business, and video game world. I hope you guys enjoy.
All right, everybody. Welcome back to the show. My name is Joshua Velas. I am your host as usual, and welcome back to the show. Today is episode 66 of the show. Obviously, yes, 66 episodes of the show so far, and you guys still haven't gotten tired of me. Oh boy, I love you guys to death. Please don't get tired of me. I really love you guys. And I love that you guys keep coming back, and it really puts a smile on my face. But anyways, we have some news. Pretty big news. Especially because this is regarding VPNs. Ooh, I know a lot of us I don't know if a lot of us have VPNs. I'm not exactly sure what you guys have, I don't know. If you guys have a VPN, great. Probably let me know what VPN you use. But for the people out there that use NordVPN, we definitely got a story for you today because, this is pretty bad. This is pretty bad. So, what do I mean by, this is pretty bad for Nord? So, I'm going to leave a link to this article. This article was published by TechCrunch.com. They were the ones that have done all the research and get the hard evidence regarding this entire situation. So shout out to TechCrunch.com. I'm going to leave a link to the original article that they have created so that you guys can, follow along with what's going on because it's a very interesting thing. So what is going on? So on October 21st of this year, TechCrunch posted an article at 9 a.m. CDT from Zach Whittaker. I'm probably saying that. Yeah, Zach Whittaker. He posted an article saying NordVPN confirms it was hacked. So a lot of you guys are probably wondering, okay, what? A VPN got hacked. Yes, NordVPN did confirm that they got hacked. And this is a really big deal, especially for people that, that not only use NordVPN, but at the same time that also promote it. This is a very big deal for them because they always promote that NordVPN is considered the greatest out of all the VPNs. There's benefits that come with it. I know a lot of people that just recently started getting NordVPN, and this is kind of like a mixed bag because that's why it took a while to do this episode because I wanted to make sure that the information settled, there wasn't any contradictions, if there's more information that came out, and gather all that and let it sit and before I talk about it because this is a very serious situation. I'm going to be honest with you. I know a lot of you guys are thinking, Josh, this is it's a VPN that got hacked. Doesn't really matter. But at the same time, you guys need to keep in mind that this is people's data could have been taken. You have to realize what happened here is a very big security. This was really bad, really bad. And let's go into it. So in the article, I am going through the article bit by bit. So obviously, Zach, I'm just going to refer to him as Zach, starts the article by saying NordVPN, a virtual private network. That's what a VPN is for y'all that don't know what a VPN is. A virtual private network provider that promises to protect your privacy online has confirmed it was hacked. The admission comes following rumors that the company had been breached. It first emerged that NordVPN had an expired internal private key exposed, potentially allowing anyone to spin out their own services emitting NordVPN. So what is that internal private key? So I like how the easiest way that this situation was described was think of it like a straw. So when you blow air into a straw, obviously it goes in one direction. Think of it the same way as these keys. These keys open the lock on one end and they send you and pump you out some other place. So it's like spitball. You load the spitball into the straw and then you point into a direction and you spit, and then that's where it goes. Think of it like that. The fact that they confirmed that internal private key was expired, that an expired internal private key exposed, it allowed people to basically spin out any, essentially think of it like this. You're going through one tube and you go out another. That's what a VPN is. It takes you from one place and puts you in another. Think of it as you're going through your end, and because, like, say, a hacker group or, like, whoever had this key, they're able to generate their service or whatever they have and essentially make themselves look like a NordVPN server. So that means that they would redirect you to them. And that's obviously really sketchy because your information is going straight to that person, and whoever has access can do whatever they want. So, but let's continue with the article. So, VPN providers are increasingly popular as they ostensibly provide privacy for your internet provider and visiting sites about your internet browsing traffic. That's why journalists and activists often use these services, particularly when they're working in hostile states. These providers channel all of your internet traffic through one encrypted pipe. So, it talks about a pipe, you go through one and go out the other, making it more difficult for anyone on the internet to see which sites you are visiting or which apps you are using. But often that means displacing your browsing history from your internet provider to your VPN provider. That's left many providers open to scrutiny, as often it's not clear if each provider is logging every site a user visits. Continue. For its part, NordVPN has claimed a zero logs policy. We don't, and that basically stands that we don't track, we don't collect, or share your private data. The company says this. But the breach is likely to cause alarm that hackers may have been in a position to access some user data. NordVPN told TechCrunch, which this is why TechCrunch is really important in this situation, because they were the ones that actually got NordVPN to react. And this is what happened. Like, this goes into why this was really sketchy. NordVPN told TechCrunch that one of its data centers was accessed in March of 2018. And quotation marks, one of the data centers in Finland we are renting our servers from was accessed with no authorization, said NordVPN spokesperson Laura Tyrell. The attacker gained access to the server, which had been active for about a month. Let that sit in for a bit before we go into it. By exploiting an insecure remote management system left by the data center provider, NordVPN said it was unaware that such a system existed. NordVPN did not name the data center provider. So let me get this straight. This had all happened in March of 2018. And this was allowed to happen for an entire month without anybody knowing. Like, let that sink in. Hackers were able to have access to your data and essentially funnel you from one end of the pipe to basically straight to them. And you were unaware, and the company itself was unaware. Now, granted, I don't think the company was absolutely unaware. I think they may have been, but, like, you get what I'm saying. Like, I'm not trying to defend NordVPN here, but I'm also trying to be fair and, be as objective as I can be and look at both sides of the spectrum. But the fact that the server was still up for over a month, the hackers had access to the key, and they had access to that entire server for a month. They didn't shut it down for a month, and they knew all this in March of 2018, and they didn't say anything about it until October of 2019. Let that sink in as we continue. Quotation marks. The server itself did not contain any user activity logs. None of our applications send user-created credentials for authentication, so usernames and passwords could not have been intercepted either, said the spokesperson. On the same note, the only possible way to abuse the website traffic was by performing a personalized and complicated man-in-the-middle attack to intercept a single connection that tried to access NordVPN. Well, yes, that is true. Usernames and, passwords weren't shared. That is very true, but you also have to keep in mind that's not the only information people care about. Like, you're telling people that your privacy, your information was basically up for grabs for an entire month and nobody knew. That is where we have a big problem, because that freaks people out, especially nowadays. Like, we live in a society where privacy, and I will say this with quotation marks while doing the quotation marks with my hand, that privacy is a key importance. And I'm like, yet we still post everything on social media. We still, let Google save all our passwords. We still use Facebook, still use Google. We still use Instagram, we still use Snapchat, et cetera, right? We care about privacy, right? But we live in a society where people care about privacy, and companies are hopping on this bandwagon that, oh, your privacy is important. We care about your privacy and your security. So we're going to add this special chip inside the phone to ensure that you have security of your data and that you have control of your data. And granted, I know Apple does a great job at this, but at the same time, no company's perfect. They're still collecting your data, and they still are. But it's kind of like I said, it's with the whole data, and we talked about this before with privacy and things like that, where it's a balancing act. Like, you can't have it both ways. You can't have incredible services that know how to react to you, that know your patterns and things like that without giving it a little bit of your privacy. But obviously people want it both ways, but clearly we can't have that. But this is a whole different thing. This is where you had no control of where your data was, like your info was going. You have no control over it because somebody else had access to the end. Basically, you were going through the tube, and this dude, basically, I wouldn't say this dude because, I don't know who did it, but these hackers literally could intercept you and funnel you, or even like trick the server and make you go to them because they were quote unquote a NordVPN server, or because of the key, they were able to do that. They had the other end of basically think of it like this. You cut a pipe in half. They had the other end. You went through one end and they had the other end, and you ended up popping out in front of them, and to a lot of people, that's very scary because you're basically saying that you had no control, and you pretty much, like, depending on what happened, if anybody like actually got information stolen or anything like that, which I haven't heard or seen anything about that, but that's very scary because somebody could have gotten their information stolen. And this is like, it's not a saying like shoulda, woulda, coulda, but it's more of, we need to be mindful, like, guys, like, this literally happened and nobody knew about it for over a year. Like, the company knew, but nobody else knew. And this is a really, really sketchy thing. But I'll continue. Let's continue with the article. According to the spokesperson, the expired private key could not have been used to decrypt the VPN traffic on any other server. NordVPN said it found out about the breach a few months ago. Oh boy. But the spokesperson said the breach was not disclosed until today because the company wanted to be 100% sure that each component within our infrastructure is secure. That's already alarming that they didn't know about this a few months ago. Like, what was a few months ago? This was literally, look, let's think about it. March is the third month in the year. October is the 10th month in the year. We're talking about a whole year and 7-month difference. And they barely found out about it a few months ago. Let that sink in for a bit. Like, I'm shocked. Like, I'm lost for words at this point, bro. Like, you have got to be kidding me. Like, really? Like, you have got to be kidding me. Like, really? You guys didn't know about this until a few months ago. Okay, that's great. And even though they're like 100% sure that each component within our infrastructure is secure, that's typical spokesperson jargon. And then we go into it. A senior security researcher we spoke to who reviewed the statement and other evidence of the breach, who reviewed the statement and other evidence about the breach, but asked not to be named as they work for a company that requires authorization to speak to the press, called these findings troubling. This is from the researcher. And this is like quotation marks. While this is unconfirmed and we await further forensic evidence, this is an indication of a full remote compromise of this provider's system. The security researcher said, that's what he said, and then he proceeds to go into, that should be deeply concerning to anyone who uses or promotes these particular services. And I agree with him because this really was a full compromise. Like, this was a complete compromise of the system. You had somebody get access to a key. You had somebody access to a server for an entire month without anybody knowing. And if Nord is being honest and they said that they didn't know about it until a few months ago, like, that's scary because that's a lot of information. Like, and they say that they don't collect information or anything like that, but you have to keep in mind there's more than just your passwords and things like that. There's much more important things. Because if they already had access to the server, who knows what else they could have done? And I'm not trying to fuel like the propaganda machine or anything like that. I'm really not. But you guys need to be honest with me for a second. Like, this is really serious. Like, this is concerning because we're talking about a full compromise, like a full breach, full compromise, like exploitation of the system in its clearest definition. This was a complete breach. They had access to a server that many people can access, that people were getting funneled to, and information was being shared to that server, which it wasn't a server. It was just the hackers dressed up as a server because they had the key. And to me, it's like, how does this go under the radar? And, as we continue, as I continue with the article, it says, well, this is unconfirmed, and we await further NordVPN said no other server on our network has been affected. But the security researcher warned that NordVPN was ignoring the larger issue of the attacker's possible access across the network. Your car was just stolen and taken on a joyride, and you're quibbling about which buttons were pushed on the radio. And that's the researcher. He's making a comparison, which makes sense. Your car was just stolen. Somebody took it on a joyride, and you're basically complaining about which buttons were pushed. And really, that's how I view it. NordVPN is doing is they're trying to say, look, we didn't have no data got taken. Everything was fine. It got breached for like a month. Okay, who cares? You can't say that to people with their security. Like, you honestly cannot. It's not a good look for Nord for doing that. This is not a good look for them. This is not a smart, healthy decision. This isn't going to make things better. It won't, because you're basically telling people that you're ignoring the bigger picture, which it's not the fact that nothing was taken. It's the fact of the possibilities of what could have happened because of this. You left this alone for an entire month. You didn't know about it until a few months ago, which I'm a little bit skeptical if they did, but I'll give them the benefit of the doubt at least, and I'll be fair. But this is really concerning because Nord is being, I'm not going to say ignorant, but they're being nearsighted about the bigger picture, because there's very big ramifications that come with this. Very big ramifications, because it questions, are you really safe? Like, people that had NordVPN from that time frame, were you really safe? Like, who knows? Who knows if your information was taken or not? And I'm not trying to scare you. I'm not. But I'm going to be honest with you, is that should be your concern right now. And people that just got NordVPN right now, they don't have to worry that much because, it's gone. It's already been dealt with. But still, for people during that time frame in March 2018, they didn't know about this. They just used the service and just, used it. They got their yearly subscription, monthly, whatever they have, and they went along their day and used it. And it's very concerning because it's how did this go under the radar for such a long time? But as I continue, the company confirmed it had installed intrusion detection systems, a popular technology that companies use to detect early breaches, but quotation marks, no one could know about an undisclosed remote management system left by the data center provider, which, by the provider, and it brackets the data center because they were the ones that left it, said the spokesperson. NordVPN said it disputes this. We treat VPN servers as untrusted in the rest of our infrastructure. It is not possible to get access to other VPN servers, users' database, and any other server from a compromised VPN server, said the spokesperson. And the researcher, he's just ripping into him. He's firing shots. This man's firing. And he's they spent millions on ads, but apparently nothing on effective defensive security. Damn. This man's over here throwing he's asking for some hand. He's throwing hands, bro. It's crazy. And he's right. How do you, how? You get what I'm saying? As how do you spend so much money on advertising, since millions on advertising, yet you can't seem to invest in a healthy system that's able to prevent something like this? Because this is like I said, this was a complete compromise. This is very troubling. And NordVPN is kind of treating it as, it's not such a big of a deal. We dealt with it. Everybody's fine. We're fine. You're fine. Nothing happened. But like I said, there's a much bigger picture in this entire situation. And that's what a lot of people are worried about, is the bigger picture, which is this was a complete breach and you've done nothing to fix it. What makes it say that this can't happen again? Because keep in mind, yes, that server was shut down. It was only active for a month, but what happens if another server ends up in the same situation? What happens if a person gets a key again, another expired key? What's going to happen? And what happens when somebody's information gets taken or not just a person, but a large group of people get their info stolen because of something like this? That's what's concerning, because a lot of people, they don't have control over it. To me, it's baffling that NordVPN is this nearsighted about the situation, that they're not focusing on the bigger picture. And I think that's what's the most worrying, is they're not focusing on the big picture. And, as I continue with the article, when I go into my final thoughts, because the article is almost over, NordVPN was recently recommended by TechRadar and PC Mag. CNET described it as its favorite VPN provider. It's also believed several other VPN providers may have been breached around the same time. Similar records posted online and seen by TechCrunch suggest that TorGuard and Viking VPN may have also been compromised. A spokesperson from TorGuard told TechCrunch that a single server was compromised in 2017, but denied that any VPN traffic was accessed. TorGuard also put out an extensive statement following a May blog post, which first revealed the breach. And then obviously they got the links to the said what TorGuard, but we're not going to talk about that. But it brings up a good point, is these people, VPNs are the middleman. And I get it, VPNs have a lot of benefits. There's many benefits that come with a VPN for people that want to access content that's restricted in their region, or there's many benefits. It's so crazy that a lot of people don't realize how scary this is. And I hope you guys understand, this isn't a laughing matter. This isn't a joke. We're talking about people's information literally in the hands of people that can do anything with them. People's lives can be ruined by this. And the company's basically saying, oh, nothing happened. We're not going to focus on that because it didn't happen. Let that sink in. And let that sink in very, very clearly. This is not this is a one and done. No, this can happen again if we're not careful. And I just don't know where to go. It's so weird, because it's how do you screw up this bad? And then you proceed to make one of the most tone deaf, literally one of the most tone deaf, one of the most tone deaf responses I've heard in a long time, especially from a company regarding a situation like this. And to me, if you're somebody that's been promoting NordVPN, or that you promote it and things like that, I would personally recommend you don't promote them. I highly recommend that this is not a good look to promote a company that doesn't value its customers, that doesn't value their security, that doesn't value, that doesn't understand information could have been taken. You left it alone for an entire month, didn't tell anybody for an entire year. And it's crazy because they still don't learn. And to me, I recommend, and this is just healthy, friendly advice from somebody. I'm not sponsored by anybody. I haven't recommended any VPNs to anybody, but I will recommend that anybody that is recommending or sending links or partnerships with NordVPN, I would say just stop it. Just cut the cord. It's not a good look. It's not good, because right now this company has not earned the trust of the consumers. They need to earn the trust back, because clearly they don't care. And I know that sounds harsh, but that's just the reality, is they didn't care because all this happened. I know some people say, hey, Josh, you can't blame them. You know, it was an expired key. They got a server. They didn't have control over, but you get what I'm saying is like, this is a company that's saying that they protect your information, that they're always on guard, yet when it failed miserably and we had a complete breach. And I just want you guys to realize that this is a very, very bad situation and a very bad look. This is really, especially with these comments, this is really bad PR for NordVPN. Very bad PR. Like, this is bad. And they're going to get a lot of crap from this. They're going to lose a lot of subscribers because of this. A lot of their, like I say, people promoting them are not going to promote. Like, I know Jay's 2 cents. He covered this video, like he covered this topic on his channel, and he's a prominent NordVPN user. He uses it a lot in his work, like in his personal life, and he uses it obviously as promotion. And he's even said, look, he's not promoting it. He's cutting ties. He's not promoting it anymore, and that he's going to wait until they earn that trust again, because Nord has to earn your trust. Like, you can't trust them after this. This is clear that you can't trust them. They basically, like, I'm not saying they knew exactly from the day, but they knew that the information, they knew there was a breach. They knew that they had left this alone for over a year. Like, they fixed it, it resolved, the server shut down, you know, they cut ties with that server and everything. But you have to keep in mind, this doesn't fix the problem, because that breach is still there. This can still happen. And a lot of people don't seem to realize this. Just because you got rid of this bad server or just this compromised server doesn't mean this doesn't open up the floodgates to any other server. If somebody else can get another expired key and access to another server and something like that, any of this can happen. Because keep in mind, they don't own the servers. They're just renting them. So let's keep that in mind. NordVPN does not own the servers. They rent them. This is a very concerning thing. In my opinion, you guys should be concerned. If you have NordVPN, I would stop using it. I would probably try to find another VPN. Like, obviously, in general, VPNs, like, you know, like in the TechGuard web, it talks about TorGuard. It talks about the TechCrunch talked about TorGuard admitting that they were compromised in 2017. Viking VPN, and it's crazy. And I hope you guys walk away with this with more informed information, like to be more mindful of what you're doing with your privacy and things like that. Because, like I said, this is a very scary thing, because your information about anything could have been given away and could have been taken like that, and you had no control over it. And it's crazy that a lot of people don't realize that this is a very, very serious thing. I hope you guys walked away more informed. I will leave a link to this article down below, because, you know, for people that are interested in reading up and going through the actual, like, I'd say the links inside of specific parts in the article, you can go read through it and go more in depth and, you know, generate your own opinion. Like, what do you guys think? Do you care about this? Do you not care about it? You know, and ask yourself that question. To me, I do care about it. I think it's a very concerning thing, because if I'm being honest, I was using NordVPN during that time. So I'm semi-concerned as well. I'm not that concerned, but I'm semi-concerned. But you guys have to understand, this is a very, very sketchy thing. This is very sketchy. This is very, like, this isn't a good relationship between the consumer and the company. This is not a good, healthy relationship, because they lied about it. They didn't say anything about it. And, you know, now here we are, where it got brought into daylight. Now everybody's like flaming them for it. But I hope you guys enjoy. I love you guys to death. Have yourselves a wonderful week, guys. I hope you guys listened to this episode, and hopefully you enjoy it. I hope you found it really or informative. And I hope that it really helps, that, you know, help open your eyes to this stuff, to be more mindful about your privacy, to be more mindful about the companies like this. You know, I'm not saying VPNs are a bad thing. I like the idea of VPNs. I think people should have them, but you have to be mindful, like, things like this can happen, and you just have to be prepared, and you have to, you know, do what you can, and, you know, call the company out when they do something dumb and they do something like this. Don't let this happen. Like, don't let companies get away with this, because they'll never learn if they keep getting away with stuff like this. They'll never learn, guys. And I'm being honest with you. That's just the truth. Companies will never learn if you don't hold them accountable to their mistakes. because they'll keep doing the same thing over and over and over again until something bad really happens. So I hope you guys enjoy. I love you guys to death. Maybe there will be an episode this Friday, depending on how things work, but I guarantee next week we're going to have a really great episode. Well, really great episodes lined up for you guys. I'm telling you that now. We're going to have a really great discussion. AirPod fanboys are going to be pissed at me. But anyways, I love you guys to death. Have yourselves a wonderful week. Bye, guys.
Hey there. Thank you for listening to today's episode. I really appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for taking time out of your day and listening to today's episode. If you're interested in supporting the show, whether it be financially, clicking the follow button, or just sharing the episode, it all works for me, guys. Thank you guys so much for your time, and I love you guys to death.